Welcome back to the PDR Coach Podcast Trainers Edition, where I'm going to interview the top trainers in our industry for you so you can make the best decision on where to go to learn the art and skill of PDR. Welcome to the podcast. What's going on, Mike?
It's been a slow day, but it's really good to be here with you, Corey. So I really appreciate you invite me on. Thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. My mic was cutting out a little bit. And did you hear me say all those words?
I did.
The intro. Okay, cool.
You sounded fine.
I'm sure they got recorded. All right. So we have a list of questions I'm going to go through, just like someone would be asking you questions when they go to your training. We're going to start basic and then get more involved. So what's your name and the name of your training school?
My name's Mike Sewald, and the training center is Gateway Dent Training Center.
And where can they find that online?
We're at gatewaypdrtraining.com.
Gotcha. And where is your facility located?
We're about 30 minutes west of St. Louis on 44.
Gotcha. Are you, or have you ever been a tech, or how long have you been a tech if you have been one?
I am a tech. I've been a technician since '93, and I still chase hail and do route work between classes.
Awesome. Why did you start training people, or how?
I saw a need for proper training out there because I've seen some work that I felt like the technicians really needed proper training instead of just trying to do this in their backyard under a shade tree, because it reflects on our industry, and there's no need for the new techs to go through all the stumbling blocks that we did back in the day. So I felt like that proper training was really needed.
How long have you been training?
I started training in 1995.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So I guess.
Yeah, a couple years. Do you have any handle on how many techs you've trained since 95?
I have no way of really finding, checking that out. I've trained several hundred, just to, for sure. I'd say near 1,000, maybe more. It's just hard to tell.
Yeah. So, and do you have, and this is a tough question, I'm aware, but I got to ask it. Do you have any idea how many are still pushing, or any sort of success rate from specific technicians or anything?
I really track that, but I do keep in touch with several technicians. And a lot of times we reconnect, like at the MTE. Guys will tell me I trained them 20 years ago. So it looks like really we've had really good success rate. A lot of them are still out there. A few, very few that I talked to, they changed their mind, decided to do something else. But really, most of the techs out there that came through, they're still out there and pretty successful, really successful.
Awesome. How many techs do you train at once in a class?
I just trained 4. 4 is the perfect size class because each technician is going to need a certain amount of time to get them started on that particular task they're on that day. So I'll work with tech number 1, and then I move on to tech number 2, number 3. And by the time I'm done with tech number 4, it's time to revisit technician number 1, because they need a certain amount of time to work things out in their own head. So, too much one-on-one, it isn't a good thing either. So really throughout the years, I've decided that 4 is just the perfect size class.
Awesome. Why should someone trying to get into PDR pick your training school, or what's unique about what you're doing at Gateway PDR?
Well, I guess the main thing is one thing I feel like I provide a well-rounded training for the guys to help them succeed in the industry, not just teach them a basic dent and crease and then let them figure it out on their own. I do my best to help them really survive out there in their new career. Most of the techs I train, though, have been sent to me by techs I've trained in the past, so they already have everything laid out for them when they get home. But the very few that I do take, they really need help uh, estimating, writing up cars, and doing everything associated with. It's not just fixing a dent and crease is going to make a guy successful. And we have our own network of technicians. We keep in touch as much as we can. They pass information along with each other. And, if it hails in one tech's area, he needs help. They usually call me or call other technicians from our network because they feel like they have something in common because they all got their start here. So that's pretty successful too. It's really working out well. So I believe that kind of helps us get the techs up and going, and helps keep them going.
Yeah, and that you kind of answered the next question, but I'm going to ask it because I'm asking the same question to all the trainers. What do you offer trainers outside of the physical PDR training? Tools or help with tools, PDR, pricing, marketing, sales, anything like that?
Okay.
That you didn't touch on?
We do provide a portable light, a small light, and a handful of tight access tools because it seems like the new techs don't want to spend $400 on a light. So we provide them that, and then they're still going to have to buy the rest of their tool set when they leave. But, like we talked about before, the support, I believe the support it's really important to the techs out there. Even if they do have their job laid out for them and they're working for a company or a technician, they still like to call me just for to reinforce, what they already know. So, that after school support, I get a lot of on that, and they say that's really, really important.
Do you help them with tools, like a tools list or anything? Guidance
We
on
do.
that?
We have tools from most of the major manufacturers that they work with in class, and in week 4, they throughout the first 4 weeks, they make their own wish list of tools that they like and want, and then I go over that with them in week 4, and we kind of tweak it a little bit. So by the end of the class, they've normally ordered their tools, so the tools are ready for them. So they tailor their tool set. For each technician before they get back home.
I actually don't think I asked you this, but we got to go back a bit. How long is the training? Class of 4 people. How many weeks is the training?
6 weeks, 5 days a week, 7 to 3:30.
Full-time job. Can you summarize your philosophy on PDR training and how it works? Maybe a big question, but
Well, I guess philosophy, it has to start, we're in the service industry. So it's going to have to start with honesty and be a hassle-free provider. Do the best work they can at a fair price and always show up on time. And so we start there. And then as far as the actual physical work, there's different ways to do that. Some they feel like that they push hard, push fast, and rough the dent up and then clean it up later. But I feel like that I'd like to make every single push count. And I try to slow the technicians down. And by the time they get the dent up as close to 100% as they can, they keep it clean. So they're not creating other issues for themselves. So that's just the main things, just honesty, hard work, and do good, clean work.
awesome. Do you teach anything about ergonomics, protecting your body? Anything along those lines of using our physical body to push dents out?
Well, I don't have a structured section on that, but we do, teach them to get the closest access with the best leverage so they don't have to push as hard and push down on the hail rods as opposed to pulling down. And, in some of the positions that we have to get in, we tweak just a little bit, but I don't really have a special segment on that. We just kind of filter it in as we go.
Mm-hmm. Do you train with lines, fog, or both?
We use fog boards outside and we use LED lights inside. The reason for that is because we're not looking at shadows and lights. I train these guys to look actually at the dent itself. So it seems like with the line boards, we can't see the dent, we just see the lines. So it seems to work best for us that way.
Awesome. Do you train for route work or hail or both?
I cross train. It's good. I'm glad you asked that question. That's really important question. You know, the hail techs, I slant their training towards hail, of course, but I have to teach them to do bigger caved in dents because in the off season when the hail techs are sitting around have no work, um, they pass up a lot of work. You know, there's money on the table there to be made, and they're afraid of these bigger dents. So we get a taste of that in class, and the opposite with the route techs, because you know they're used to doing big caved in dents, maybe 20, 30 dents a week. It depends, and you know they're overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. First hail car I saw had more dents in it than I'd do in 3 months. So we do a hail car in class to kind of get them over that because the route technicians, they're going to run across hail car sometimes, so they need to get over that fear, and we try to do that here in class.
Awesome. Do you teach working inverted, like through windows or right side up?
Well, we have to do it inverted because there's no other way to get the correct line of sight. With the grain of the panel, you know, the door is straightest front to back, so you have to have your head level with the dent on the door, and you just can't do that any other way.
Do you offer advanced courses?
I do. It's kind of amazing how many advanced techs out there, no matter how long they've been doing this. I get calls all the time. Techs will call me and say they can only get dents to 80%. They can't finish them. That's an easy fix, of course. They just need to move their light. And and a lot of techs, it's amazing how many techs have never done any glue pull. So yes, I do, and I bring them in, you know, for one day and evaluate them, and then we make a plan from there as to what else they're going to need.
So is that a personalized thing, or is that the 4 techs for 6 weeks? Are they one of those techs, or is it a separate?
That's one-on-one.
That's a one-on-one. Okay.
Yeah, that would be one-on-one, personalized to the tech, because usually that doesn't. We try to not, you know, that doesn't coincide with a regular beginning class. So I take them between classes. It seems to work a lot better that way.
Do you train techs for any large companies?
I have, but not anymore. It seems like they try to kind of like to throw warm bodies out there, and I don't really like to do that. So most of the people I train have been sent to me by someone I've trained in the past, and their company has grown and they need technicians. And you know, that works really well for the techs, because it's really rare for me to take a tech just off the street that has a lot of money and says, "Hey, I want you to train me." I pretty much turn those guys down because at least I interview them and make sure it's a good fit. You know, if it's say an adjuster, he knows the ropes and he knows body shops and he can get his own work out there, his own accounts, then I'd say, yeah, I could probably take a guy like that. But you know, just someone off the street that wants to come and be trained. Sometimes I'll put them off for a year or two, and then they eventually come back. But they need to do their research before they just come and jump in.
Awesome. Do you offer any sort of like certification or graduation certificates or anything like that?
We do have a certification. It consists of 5 areas of damage. They've fixed a dent in the open on a hood, a crease in the open, a brace dent, a brace crease, and a glue pull dent. And they have 30 minutes to complete each one. And they have to have an overall score of 80 or better, 80% or better, and no single dent below 70%.
Gotcha. I was going to ask what it was based on, but you answered that very specifically. What are the package options? Assuming there's just 1 or 2, you have a 4 techs at a time for 6 weeks, and then the one-on-one advanced. And so package options other than that, and then the cost of each of those, if you're willing to share that.
Yeah, those are the only 2 that I offer, really. I can't, in good conscience, train anyone for any less time than 6 weeks, because I feel like that it takes 6 weeks to at least get them started. So the beginning course is 6 weeks long, 5 days a week, and it's $2,400 a week. So it's a total of $14,400 for the basic class. And the advanced class, we just take it day by day. So it's $460 a day, depending on how long they want to stay.
And they come in for a day and you kind of evaluate and say, hey, I think we could work for a week or 2 weeks or something like that, and kind of have a game plan.
Exactly. Yeah.
How can potential clients pay? Just through your website, call you on the phone? What do they do?
Really, about the only way we can do it is, I don't get on the internet that much. I'm not an internet guy. I'm more of a hands-on kind of guy. Really, we just take checks.
Mm-hmm.
We just take checks. We require a $500 deposit to hold the spot for class, and then we require payment for each week on the Mondays of that week. Some techs just go ahead and pay the full amount, but it's not required.
Gotcha. How far out are you typically to sign up for training? I mean, I don't know, because you're working too. You're not doing them every 6 weeks on the dot, I'm guessing. How far out to book for training for you?
Well, for example, the next class begins July 5th. It's a full class. And then we have another class beginning in October. So we try to space those out. I try to give myself a little bit of a break because, it's really mentally exhausting for me because I bring my mental state down to the technician's level, and I go through all of the emotions they do in class. And, I'm kind of fried after the end of 6 weeks. So I have to give myself a few weeks off. Plus that helps me, instead of having other technicians come and take care of my route. I go out and do the route work myself and kind of for relaxation that way. So, I try to spread the classes out, at least have a few weeks in between.
And okay, so best way for clients to reach out to you if they want to, go further and talk a little bit more in depth than what this podcast has. What's the best way for them to do that?
Really, the best way is either call or text. The number's 314-775-9904. But they can email me too at that address.
Gotcha. So say your email address, please.
It's gatewaypdrtraining.com.
Got it. All right. That's the overview of it. And I just have a fun question at the end here because I like to ask this at the end of all my podcasts for those that listen to it. And I'm curious what you think about it. Where do you see the future of PDR going, and what are you doing to try to kind of help it see where you want, or make it be what you want it to be?
That's a really tough question.
It is.
Throughout the years, we've talked about, PDR was going to go away because cars, they were making plastic panels and aluminum panels and everything. And then oversaturation of technicians. And I really haven't seen that so much either. It's just hard to say. But, it's amazing, though, how far PDR's come, because back in the day when I was trained, we could just fix a quarter-size dent and a 1-inch crease. And we were told that was all it was ever. And, I see technicians out there doing collision work now. So, I don't know where that's going to stop. But, cars are going to be around, I believe, for a long time. And I think they're going to need us, because we do provide a valuable service.
Yes, sir. Anything else that I didn't hit on that you would want to share with potential trainees that you want to share before we wrap it up?
Well, the main thing I'd like to say to potential trainees is do your research on, they need to know what they're getting into. They need to really know our industry, and just do the research on what type of training they need, and actually whether they want to be a route tech or a hail tech, and if it's right for them, because it's not right for everybody. It's for us in the industry, it's been a great thing, but I'd say do your research and know what you're getting into. That's the main thing I'd say.
Awesome. There you guys go. Mike Sewald from Gateway PDR Training. Quick little interview. If you want to reach out or find out more, then reach out to him directly. Thanks for coming on, Mike.
Thanks, Corey.